The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Yeah, Earnestly Speaking podcast. Let's get it. I'm a giant in New York, in Miami carry heat. So much more in store, my product can flood the street. Opinion Nation Godfather, CEO. Puff in the late 90s, gon' see me blow. Oh. Got my hustle on, no imitation of bad. Army of untouchables, Opinion Nation staff. Never an off season, homie, check the numbers. Heart throb in my own right, supplying southern comfort. Earnestly speaking, my ego is well fed. Earnestly speaking, you're too evil and no threat. See, I'm like a hurricane, you're a mild breeze. Earnestly speaking, leaving Eli a dynasty. Shake!
Earthquake Podcast coming to you October 22nd, 2024. Merry Christmas in my household, because today is the first night, officially the first night of the NBA season. So you know your boy EJ's jacked up. You know him. You know I'm kept pumped up. Now, granted, there's only two games on tonight. So it's a little bit of a limp in. It's a little bit of a limp. You know, got two games: Knicks, Celtics to start the slate, and then Timberwolves and Lakers to end the slate late tonight. So I'll be watching both games, even while I'm recording Huddle Up Podcast, which I'll be appearing on tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Huddle Up Podcast feed. Check it out on YouTube, on Twitch, on Facebook. Yeah. So I'm excited about that. I just want to see where these teams lie early on. Look, you're not going to get much in the first game of the year. Because even if the Knicks win tonight, for example, you don't have those crazy ass Knicks fans. Somebody like, oh, we back, dog. We back. Knicks tape, dog. Knicks tape, dog. Nope. It's 1 of 82. Anything can happen. Injuries can happen. You know, teams could be better than we think they are. But it's just the idea of having basketball back in our lives again. You know what I mean? Like I said, this time of year for me it's like Christmas. The only thing been better right now is if the Mets had freaking won Game 6 and Game 7 in the last 2 days. I've been in heaven with them going to the World Series against the Yankees this week, but that didn't happen. So, in case of Knicks and Celtics, of course, you know, no KP, no Porzingis for a good chunk of the year, probably till Christmas, maybe into January, and you know it makes sense. I mean, this guy is going to be on low management for his career, probably. This guy's not a guy that'll play more than 60 games a year. As long as he's healthy, where it counts for the Celtics, they don't really need him. To be honest, they don't need the dude for the year. The Celtics will probably end up the number 1 seed, or worse, number 2 seed, without KP, because they got the prerequisite. I said properly today. The prerequisite weapons to make this work, no matter what. Jrue Holiday and Derek White, and of course Jason Tatum, that dude, and Jaylen Brown, that other dude, Finals MVP last year. But you know, I'm looking forward to see what New York, if the New York hype is real. Now, if you saw last week on the podcast, we did our season preview with myself, with the degenerate himself, Zach, or as I call him, America's Very Degenerate, and of course Chris Manic, who I call the Professor. We did our little preview, 2-hour preview, and I told y'all on the preview when we were doing predictions, I had this Knicks Celtics matchup have the East Conference Finals this year, and I picked the Knicks to win the East this year. Okay, so right the shoot, this has a lot of investment in terms of my, you know, prognostication. This has a lot of investment. This is a lot of investment from me into this matchup already. There you go. So when I was trying to see how the Knicks look, the pick and pop game, Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns, if that's gonna work out, if those pieces together, Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby, all those pieces will fit. Because the Knicks, to me, on paper, are the best team in the Eastern Conference right now. You got to get Boston to do, because Boston's the champs. You got to get them to do. We're going to do the Bear Night, which I won't watch because I'm going to throw up. I watch the Bear Night, the Celtics. You know, I hate the Celtics. Come on now. What's wrong with y'all? But we're going to watch that. We're going to watch that. I'm going to watch the game. And then tonight, Timberwolves and Lakers. I mean, LeBron is going to always get top billing no matter what. LeBron, AD, you know, some folks, you know, think Lakers are cooked as a finals contender. Probably so. They're still a solid team. to me, this is all about Anthony Edwards. I just want to see how this dude can continue to bounce and ascend to be that dude. I had number 6 on my. You guys saw my rankings last week. We did the preview, second part preview. Did the top 25 rankings. I had number 6, and I probably had a little bit too high. Looking back in hindsight, but we'll see. We'll see. You know, I think this dude is special. I think this dude has an old school mentality that I love to watch and see. And he reminds me a lot of Kobe and Jordan in terms of the attitude, in terms of just the will and want to get better, and just the grit. So he's a dude I'm looking forward to watching in the years to come. But I want to say also too, like, remember that Knicks 2 most trade happened a couple weeks ago. Cat for Dante Vincenzo and Julius Randle. Can those pieces fit in Minnesota too? Also, because Minnesota was in the Western Conference Finals last year, got crushed in 5 games by Dallas, but they were ascending with that roster and they made a move. Let's see if Minnesota can continue to ascend. Because here's the thing with like the East, the West is a complete cluster. I think anybody can go to the finals this year. I think a combination of 6-7 teams could be in the finals. You won't be surprised. If the Timberwolves could be in the finals, won't surprise me. Nuggets, of course, Jokic, Mavericks and Luka, OKC on the SGA. Who else? The Lakers, if they pull all together and they're healthy, it won't surprise me. They have a good roster. Who else in the Western Conference? Memphis is on the way back up now. With John Morant finally healthy and hopefully finally not in trouble. Hopefully he's staying out of trouble finally. My boy John Morant. Hopefully he can stay out of trouble and he can be that dude and become the guy that we all thought he was going to be a couple of years ago. That's 6 teams right there. I'm missing. I mean, Phoenix. Much as I'm down on the Suns right now. If Bradley Beal could actually keep his sorry ass healthy for once, you know, with KD and Booker, then Booker. That's 7 teams I just mentioned there. I'm the Warriors in that conversation. How about the Pelicans? That's 8 teams. You know, if they stay healthy, also too with Zion. If Brandon Ingram is on the roster still by the end of the year. That's 8 teams right there. That if they make a run to the finals, it would not shock me. There was no pullaways in the Western Conference. In the East, is a little more defined. Like the East, you have the top tier teams. Like you go put Boston and New York. I'll still say Milwaukee because Giannis is that dude. I'll still say Philadelphia if healthy going to be a problem, but I don't think they'll stay healthy. This is maybe 4 teams maybe in the Eastern Conference. I mean, Miami could be. You know how Miami is, man. When you count them out, it's my team. Obviously, when you count them out, obviously things work out. Sometimes anyway. Not last year, injuries hurt. But the Western Conference has a cluster on their hands. So, like I said, we're not gonna get a lot of answers tonight in this one game, 1 of 82. But just to have the NBA back on my psyche, which means I'm losing a lot more sleep going forward, which is not good for me anyway. But I'm just happy the NBA is back tonight. 2 games tonight, and then the rest of the slate tomorrow night. I'm sure we'll react to that probably on the Thursday podcast. I'll have some reaction to what I've learned the first 48 hours of the season. Maybe we'll see what happens there. All right. Before I bring in our guest for today, Kyle Nash coming on in a couple minutes, and then we have Dave Ramil of Locked On Heat to preview the Heat season and some other NBA things on the back end of the show. Some wrestling news, some WWE news that came out yesterday that really made me sad. Samantha Irvin, who was the WWE ring announcer, who's been there for about 5 years, maybe. She has announced that she's no longer going to be with the company. She's leaving the company. She didn't explain why she's leaving the company. Now, you guys know she's also engaged or not married already to Ricochet. Ricochet was a wrestler there who just recently left early in the year due to a contract dispute, and that didn't work things out. Of course, Ricochet is now in AEW. A lot of folks are speculating that she's going to go to AEW as a result, which I think is stupid as hell. Why would you downgrade yourself unless it's people saying, well, Ricochet's probably got her to go to AEW. I don't believe that at all. I think, honestly, she's leaving because she's going to pursue her real passion, which is music. If you guys know her history, and I've been following her since 2015, 2016, because she was on, you guys know I'm a big Michael Jackson fan. She was on the Michael Jackson 1 tribute show in Vegas for many years, and that's what got her a lot of attention to other places to work at, including WWE. Samantha Irvin, it sucks because like this girl she's amazing. She's phenomenal. I would argue probably second best ring announcer in history of the company. You have obviously Howard Finkel, my favorite all time. Yeah, you're not going to replace that dude, but Samantha Irvin was well on her way to get into that conversation, and she made a mark for herself. She's really branded herself well, in a way where she's respected by many people outside the industry as well too. But her real passion really is singing, is music. And she has a phenomenal voice. And I think maybe with her, what she's been doing here, she does a lot of off stuff here. She's done the national anthem for baseball games and whatnot. Maybe she's got more opportunities now outside of doing this in WWE. Someone said her contract expired and they come to a new deal. I don't know all that, but she's going to be a loss because she made a mark for us the last couple of years. You know, people say, "Oh, us ring announcer, you can replace that." Yeah, you probably could in theory, but honestly, when you consider WWE and how they branded themselves and how you know, the whole, you know, shebang of it all, you know, she's part of that. She's now, I view her the same way I view Fink for many years. Like Fink was the voice of WWE, and when he was gone, it was noticeable. She was in that conversation now. So now, her being gone now, it's gonna be a little different. And then look, now here's the good news for them. They bring back Lilian Garcia, who's another legendary announcer for WWE, which of course, you know, she's one of the greats, probably top 5 all time. And I love Lilian Garcia, but she ain't Samantha Irvin, dude. I'm sorry, she ain't Samantha Irvin. Samantha Irvin is she's top notch. She's one of one. Okay, like I said, the only person I'm putting over her is Fink, and y'all know how I feel about Fink. I'm a Fink diehard, and I'm an old school guy, so you know how I feel about that. So the fact I even put her in that conversation should tell me how much I respect that girl, you know. But we're gonna miss her. I mean, we're gonna miss her, man. We're gonna miss her. I told my oldest son today, yesterday rather, about that. He was stunned and quite sad about it. So anyway, time to bring in Kyle Nash, Student Game, our weekly report as we recap the week that was in the NFL, Week 7, another crazy week, and some college football talk. And then we bring in Terry Mill in the back end to talk basketball. Student Game report, week number 8, I think now. Yeah, week 8.
We're going to week 8.
Yes. Kyle Nash with us every Tuesday here. What's up, buddy?
You know, some things that endure, not just the Niners injury list, but me being Kyle effing Nash on this show. And listen, I know that you're looking forward to handing Eli a dynasty and all that, but you know.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. We'll get to the Chiefs.
I don't know. I'm confused.
The Chiefs are weird, dude. It's weird.
No,
they're 6-0. They don't even feel like
stop it. No, stop that. And this isn't just about you completely supplanting what I've been telling you for the past 2 years in such a fashion that even Lucifer Morningstar is done dealing with your bullshit, okay? I'm not going to see I tried to tell you, but you wouldn't listen. You motherfucker have explained it. See, I cursed because it's your show. What can I say except you're welcome? You have said it yourself that the Chiefs are a defensive team. Stop.
This show is therapy for you, buddy.
You've cracked the motherfucking code. Stop it. Advise people.
No.
Lead them in the correct direction. Stop being bald Emmanuel Acho. Damn it. Stop it.
Oh no, I'm not suggesting they're not a great team. That's
more offended me calling you Emmanuel Option than Emmanuel Acho than Donald Trump right there. You were more offended being called Acho than Trump.
Don't be rude. No, I look. I don't have him on a donkey because it is what it is. The Chiefs, they're that damn good. They metamorphosized into a balanced team. I mean, even Mahomes can play that bad against a quality opponent. Granted, a quality opponent that's hurt, and yet they can still win by 10 points on the road.
Yeah, Brock Purdy.
Yeah, be mad all you want, guys, about the Chiefs, but they do their job.
You know, and that's the thing, man. Like saying that Brock Purdy, saying that the Chiefs aren't the best team in the NFL right now is up there with trying to celebrate a team that's lost to an awful team and isn't undefeated. You know, it's just a thing that doesn't make any sense to me.
Oh, I won't go there. They are the best team in football, and I'll give you a tease right now. The number one again in my power ranking. So there you go.
Good. Okay. Well, I mean, you'll have at least one ally in the ring, and I think there's a lot of. I don't understand Chiefs fatigue enough. Maybe I'm the problem. Okay. But right. Patrick Mahomes getting credit is something that should happen. This isn't like in the past where Tom Brady was carried by a defense and eventually made great. Patrick LeVon Mahomes II carried a team, and now he's given a lot of comfort and license Okay. What's odd about Patrick Lavon Mahomes II? I don't think I've made this point yet, or if I have, I haven't done it loud enough. I am typically of a mind and a headspace that gunslingers aren't Super Bowl quarterbacks. Example of gunslingers including a Jay Cutler or a Brett Favre. Or I know Rodgers isn't a gunslinger either. He's not a guy who's known for risky passes. Actually, if you look at the stats, he's conservative as hell, unless he's playing the Pittsburgh Steelers. More on that later. But Patrick Lavon Mahomes II is a gunslinger, right? A guy that does shit like no look passes and things behind the back because he's pissed off at a teammate. Whatever. That's gunslinger activity, and you don't typically see that. From a guy who wins Super Bowl certainly is threatening to go back to back for the three-peat. And I think that's just, maybe that's what frustrates people the way that I used to be frustrated with Brett Favre, is he gets away with things that people don't think he should. But somehow or another, I'm able to understand what he sees when he sees it. And this isn't me saying, oh, I'm the student of the game, I'm better than you. Like, some people I think just, oh, he did that. Like, it lends itself to certain personalities of football fan, especially if you don't happen to be a Bengals fan, then you're able to look at it more objectively. Not that we're mentioning anybody in particular or anything like that. I don't know, man.
Yeah, technical issues here. I apologize here, guys. If you hear like a little bit of buffering, I apologize. I don't know if it's a Wi-Fi on my end or on Kyle's end. You've had it from time to time in the past. It happens. It happens. But I will say this much: the team that probably is going to challenge them, the AFC, for the right to go to the Super Bowl, for the right to end their three-peat. Yeah, I have Comcast.
Oh, Comcast fails. There we go. All right. Whee!
All right, we're back.
Cool. I stayed quiet so it'll be really easy to find when you go back and edit this. So
I don't edit it. Fuck it. I'll try to edit it, but I don't want to. I'll probably edit it on the back end. Anyway, 5-3.
Well,
anyway,
I mean, so on the back end, you can get rid of the big space of dead air, is what
true.
I'm saying.
No, yeah, I know. The one thing I will say, the one team I was going to say before I got caught up by fucking dumb Wi-Fi issues, the one team that could probably put us a bit of a blockage on the Chiefs' three chances is the team last night that won on Monday Night Football. They've now won 5 in a row. The Baltimore Ravens. I remember saying so when they were 0-2. And looking at the schedules, I was saying like 0-2, and I'm not worried. And like, oh, what a schedule! I'm like, yeah, but the Ravens do this shit all the time. Like they'll play down on teams they shouldn't lose to, then they'll play up the teams they should beat. And I told y'all before, when they're 0-2, that if they go 5-0 in this next stretch, don't be shocked. And we're here. You shouldn't be shocked.
Yeah,
this is who they are.
I don't know how to argue with that at this point, right? And especially, listen, I think we saw it this weekend with the Texans, and the lack of discipline and how that caught up to bite them. And they also have the injury issues on defense as well, not playing 5 starters against the Pack. I get it. Right. There's a reason that, I think I personally don't remember if I had the Texans 4th or 3rd, but I was never going to be brave enough to put them higher than that at this point, right? And goodness knows whatever's coming out of the AFC East, we don't know, but it's probably the Bills, right? Actually, yeah, we do know. It's the Bills. Yeah,
we do know. I think I'm good there. I think we're good there.
Right. What I mean by we don't know is do you feel confident guessing that the Bills are a 12-win team? I'm not there yet, right?
No.
So that's what's fascinating to me. For the Texans, listen, this Packers game was going to be a toss-up game from moment one anyway. And listen, we've seen a lot of disrespect towards the Packers on Huddle Up on this show, trying to go through it. And I'm including myself there too. I haven't always been in love with what Jordan's doing. Moreover, we never saw Malik Willis winning 2 football games as a starter. That, so all of the above. Oh yeah, I mentioned Huddle Up. What's wrong with me? Where's the damn bell?
Come on. And plus, we started talking about the Ravens though. So
yeah, but I mean, yeah, getting back to the Ravens, there was, I know why I mentioned the Ravens, because the lack of the Texans' discipline. There was never, I'm not going to say it was a team race in the AFC, but of the candidates we saw, and especially with the Bengals falling off, the other 2 divisions, meaning the South and the East, like, I was never confident in the Jets. Some people had them in the playoffs. Some people had the Browns in the playoffs.
Guilty as charged, my friend. Guilty as charged. Yeah. Well, bad call on my end. Bad call on both ends.
I mean, yeah, it's unfortunate that you're the one in the security fan trying to enforce crime, yet you're committing them left and right. The punchline's this, though, Ernest.
It is what it is. That was good.
You know what it is? Failure. That's what it is. Damn. Oh, shoot. I'm sorry, dude. Hey, at least you have basketball coming up on Wednesday, brother.
You mean tonight?
Oh, correct. It is Wednesday. Well, yeah, as this airs.
2 games. 2 tonight. The full slate's tomorrow night.
No, right. But remember, you're what fan? What's the line you should be dropping right now that I've dropped?
Go Heat, bitch.
Go Heat, bitch. There you go.
Yeah.
So, by the way, I say this even covering the Orlando Magic for Fans First Sports Network. Check out my article there as well. You can still find an article for the Orlando Magic of me evaluating their preseason charge as they open their season Wednesday against the Heat in question. And then I will be on site at the Kia Center, by the way, for the game against the Sixers. At any rate.
Wait, Sixers season's already, right? Season's already over for the Sixers.
Well,
right? I'll be there.
Mostly, yeah, because Joel Embiid alleges he's not going to do back-to-backs again for the rest of his career. But that's another question.
I already spoke on that last week on the season preview. Trust me, it's pissing me off. But go ahead, back to the Ravens.
Yeah, listen, there was no other team that is as disciplined as the Ravens, and I'm not going to call the Chiefs disciplined. You can't. You have a gunslinger at quarterback. You have Travis Kelce as your tight end, bro. How could we call this team disciplined with what happened in the offseason with Rashee Rice, man? Can't do it. Yeah, so I think that's just the key to the Ravens' success, man. They're dangerous. They're going to be. They almost should have beaten the Chiefs, arguably,
But last I'm watching him last night. I'm like, I thought this dude was a running back. I thought Lamar Jackson was a running back, dog. I thought Lamar Jackson was supposed to be running back. He can't throw the ball. Can't sling the ball.
You tried to tell them, but they wouldn't listen, EJ Christian.
All these clowns on social media want to think they know football. Like, oh, well, because it don't look sexy. It don't look like something we were raised with. It looks different. Therefore, we should pitch home to another spot. Y'all need to stop that shit, man. I mean, I'm getting tired of this shit, bro. I'm getting tired of this shit. Like, pay attention. The dude could throw the fucking ball. Pay attention.
It's like I could even see the argument more with Cam Newton, and we say this as Cam Newton guys, right? I could at least see people criticizing him, but
we were preparers of hashtag Cam Swag back in 2015. Remember you and I?
Cam straight. I remember starting a pod with you doing the Cam Superman poll and all that. It was
exactly.
Awesome. I urged you to do it if memory serves, but the punchline being, I remember when the studio was in a different room. That's where that happened. Anyway, sorry.
It was in my bedroom.
No, I mean,
your room, your studio.
Yes.
Your studio. Right.
Good God, man. I know it's called.
Mine was in my bedroom.
I know it's called sports, but I wasn't referring to the world's oldest sport. Take it easy, kid. Anyways, talk about one-on-one, and nonetheless,
don't be rude.
Don't be rude. Yeah, the Ravens as the number 2 candidate in the AFC has always been clear. I mean, I'm saying an awful lot.
Fucking thing again. Okay, we go. Yeah, I'm buffering again, dog. I'm good, but I'm good. Let's move on to Deshaun Watson.
Mm-hmm.
His career could be done.
That might be
over. Like, I don't think anyone's. Yeah, he might be cleared to play next year, but I don't think anyone's touched him anymore.
Well, I don't know that he'll be cleared to play next year. I don't know that. It could even be also an opportunity for Deshaun Watson to retire, maybe. But with all that money guaranteed, will he?
Why would you? Nope,
You
I wouldn't.
Well, there is this to consider as well. I believe the Browns have some sort of an insurance policy on the contract. So they may pull Deshaun aside and be like, yo, you jump because of this injury. We could both, you can get some money and we can be alleviated of your bullshit. Will you play ball? Obviously that's all speculation. I'm not an expert on any of it, but it could be an opportunity for the franchise to, air quotes, look out from a business sense. Obviously, even for an absolute creeper like Deshaun Watson, I am not going to be happy he's injured or any of that. I'm just not capable of doing that. But from a business,
would you take up the booing? The booing that happened after when he got hurt from the crowd. Did that bother you?
I'm not going to necessarily say I support it. Sure. I don't know how you boo a dude for getting hurt. And I get on his teammates for defending him with that, but unfortunately,
actually, let me rephrase that. Cheering him. They were cheering him for getting hurt. That's the.
Oh, okay. I know there was something that happened. I didn't see the scene in itself other than the highlights. But if the crowd cheered for him being injured, obviously that's terrible, right?
His teammates came out and defended him too. Also, his teammates came out and defended him. Jameis Winston, Myles Garrett came out and called out the Browns crowd, and people like say, why would you do that? Well, first off, you're not in the fucking locker room, number one. So there's a different brotherhood when you're in the locker room with someone, regardless of whatever past they may have, that folks that are just paying tickets to go to the game cannot relate to.
I think some of their word choice is unfortunate as well. Saying things like, he's been doing the right thing and all that. Well, no, that's why we're here. But saying that it's inappropriate to cheer for another human being in pain when he's in a place where he's trying to sort of, rehabilitate, so to speak, from being that guy. That would be the way I would address it if I were a teammate of his. But it's never in my view, and call me biased. I'll flash the credentials again from my days playing semi-pro ball. I'm never okay with cheering for an injury, especially a debilitating one like that.
No doubt. It's a bad look. It's a bad look.
Yeah,
but I will say though, do they have a right to do it? Yeah, sure. It's a free country. You do what you want. But I have a right to also to lambast you and criticize you doing that. So
finding a way to make this a politics show. Great, good job, EJ. Yeah, jackass.
You're welcome. Let's talk Jets. The Jets, 2-5 now.
Speaking of politics, no kidding.
I mean, you get Devontae Adams, and nothing. Like this, at some point we're going to realize this is an Aaron Rodgers problem. This is not longer just I need help. You got help, and your team is just not that offense. Listen to the story here. The defense is not the issue. Number one, the defense has actually been relatively solid this year. Okay, Their offense is not special. There's no movement. There's nothing that. The Packers' offense is. Let's just call it what it is. Let's just keep it bold and keep it real. They've been shit. Aaron Rodgers has been shit. What says you?
I'm going to give you a choice for what direction I'm going to go with my rendition of this.
Go ahead.
You could either go with the movie Die Hard, which I know you know, or there's a movie called Leviathan that includes an actor, Ernie Hudson, which you obviously also know, more famously, of course, Winston Zeddemore from Ghostbusters. Which direction should I go?
Go Die Hard.
Okay, he's going to go with Die Hard. As you use the term, when are we going? No, not the term. I'm sorry, the phrase. My dad almost came from the grave to correct me for that one. Holy shit. You use the phrase, when are we going to realize Aaron Rodgers is the problem? My response to you would be in the fashion of Reginald Johnson and Sergeant Owl Powell. Well, or rather, Bruce Willis talking to him. Welcome to the party, pal. Where the fuck has rest of America been? I tried to tell you, but you wouldn't listen some time ago. And I didn't have the opportunity to be proven right last year because of the football
injury, 4 plays and done.
Okay, but I elaborated in great detail on Earnestly Speaking, on Huddle Up, on the Student of the Game podcast, even a bit on the Duval Dive as well. You know why you needed all those bells? That's how many fucking times I tried to tell you people that this was a failure. Oh, and by the way, also said this on the Duval Dive, Robert Saleh was never the issue. Okay? The Mafia, the Cosa Nostra, had an informant. It's being torn apart from the inside. Okay? The AFC East is the block, and the Godfather Josh Allen is taking it all over. Okay?
Yeah.
There you go.
I think the big sign for me with there's been issues we should take them more seriously is the fact that Aaron Rodgers chose not to be at camp or at training camp or be with us. I think there's something. Kyle, I think there's something to be said about you being a quarterback, you not playing for over a year, okay, and not being there, connecting with your teammates, in a way that Tom Brady did even during COVID. And I'm not saying you have to do everything that Tom Brady does. I'm not going to say all that. What I'm saying though is that Aaron Rodgers feels. I think. Hold on, wait. Let me get this one quick, and I'll get to you. I feel like Aaron Rodgers feels like he's still at the point in his career where he can just like come into class and just I'm that dude that what I don't need to practice. I come in and do a test and blah blah blah, and I'll be all right, and I'll get an A or B, whatever. No, you need to in a sport that entails working together. I think Aaron Rodgers set a bad precedent and a bad tone for that team before the season even started, and we should have been. I mean, at least on my part, and I'll stand on my 10 toes on this one. That should have been a sign that this dude, just the energy he brings is not something positive. Okay. I mean, and now his play can't turn around either. On top of that,
okay, Mr. Gambini, that was a very lucid, intelligent, well thought out objection. Overruled. Okay.
Why?
First of all, the camp thing was not an Aaron Charles Rodgers blunder. That was a New York Jets media team blunder. We have been over that on this show. And with the details we had, that Aaron Rodgers ahead of time let them know that he was going to be missing on those. It wasn't even full training camp that happened. It was friggin' mini camp, I believe, if I remember correctly. Okay. Camp, yeah. Oh no. A, B, you cite Tom fucking Brady. Hey, dipshit. He missed time in that same space as well. Granted, it was probably for a different reason and a more important reason than Aaron Charles Rodgers, because he was dealing with his divorce and his family literally falling apart at that time. So I'm not mocking Tom for missing that time. Nobody has. And a matter of fact, Tom got a pass because he's Tom fucking Brady. The difference between Tom and Aaron Charles Rodgers is, listen, we've seen it in other sports as well, in particular with Kyrie Irving in the NBA, with Barry Bonds with baseball. If you don't like the media and you let them know it, funny how that shit works, that human beings naturally call out the shit you do wrong with a bit louder voice. And Aaron Rodgers is prickly. I don't think that's debatable. Yeah. Right? I mean,
he's an asshole. The dude's an asshole. Let's just call it what it is. He's an asshole.
And no disrespect to our good friend Russell Baxter, who normally, like, it feels like on a weekly to daily basis, talks trash on Colin Cowherd for being critical of Aaron Charles Rodgers' personality.
I saw something he posted yesterday. Actually, I saw something he posted.
Well, it's not even just yesterday. Like, that's been a trend he's been on for a while.
I know, for years. Even on the show years ago, he on the show. He would talk shit about Colin Cowherd, but the media and that. Like, okay,
thinking more about him putting Rodgers as if he's the victim, and that's you could be critical of Colin Cowherd if you want. He's set up front. He views himself as a storyteller more than a sports analyst, and Bax is a analyst through and through. I have
Yeah.
met this man. I know this about him. There's a reason why he was the researcher for the Schwab. Okay?
Yeah.
I get it.
I
However,
haven't had him on this podcast in years.
I know you haven't.
Yeah.
But it sounds like a you problem, frankly. I'm joking.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
For me, I don't think Rodgers is defensible typically. However, you're citing stuff that isn't the problem. Where Rodgers is the problem, correctly, is dictating. Where the Jets were the problem is saying yes everywhere. You stupid dummies actually gave Nathaniel Hackett the fucking game ball the first time you beat the Broncos. Not even realizing, although we did here on this show, by the way, not even realizing that the reason you beat them that time was because Nathaniel Hackett wrecked this damn team that bad in the form of the Broncos. Then what did we see happen, Ernest Christian? The Broncos have beaten the Jets 10-9 with a rookie quarterback with an inferior roster. But please, let's give Nathaniel Hackett the game ball. But please, let's fire Robert Saleh, and hidden in the headlines behind that is relieving Nathaniel Hackett of fucking play calling duties. Okay? Now, granted, for Monday night, can we give the Pittsburgh Steelers a little bit of credit? That defense is rude as fuck. Okay? We need to be fair.
We got them in a second. It's a great segue. But real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
Real quick, because I don't want to exit the Jets stuff just yet.
Gotcha.
Is it over now? Season's over? 2-5? Or does it require another schedule look before we actually put the rest in peace on the season for the Jets?
I think if we're going to explore it, we're doing it for you. I told you motherfuckers they weren't making the playoffs back in August. What do you expect me to say?
Then it's over. Then it's over. It's over. No, I think it's over. Because so your next 4 games at Patriots, Texans, at Cardinals, Colts. Then another stretch of Seahawks, Dolphins, and Jaguars and Rams. So you got winnable games, but again, when you're 2-5, you can't be the team that's like, oh well, we can win that game. When you're the team that people look at you as that easy win now because you're the team that sucks now.
Yeah. Well, if you have the right team makeup, you can do that. Like for example, the Texans have Will Anderson and a pretty good defensive front. I expect them to wreck the Jets. If you don't have,
And I don't know if they're gonna get any better. Like their issues are something I don't think this changes on a dime. I just think I think the Jets are through 7 weeks are pretty much who they are going forward. Rodgers is not gonna get much better. Yeah, Rodgers might play 1 or 2 good games in the next stretch, but okay, but they need more than that at this point to get back in the race. And I don't see it happening at this point. The AFC East is done. Buffalo has that shit wrapped up. They got that shit wrapped up. The wild card is not defined yet, but look at even the Bengals will come back now. The Bengals are making their ascent back to the AFC wild card picture now with 2 wins in a row. So, like I said, you look at the AFC wild card picture, it's still a little messy, but I at this point now, 7 weeks in, what I've seen with this team, I just don't see them cracking it. I just don't. I'm out. I'm out.
Beyond
we can reassess it in 4 weeks, but now, yeah.
Beyond a Josh Allen injury, you're absolutely right. We got to at least acknowledge that's a factor. You're down to Tim Boyle, which do you understand now? 13 interceptions and 1 touchdown in a career in college. Okay. Do you get it? I know your bitch ass never looked it up. So I sent you that video. Okay.
You did.
So
you did. I got it.
And you never looked it up.
So he's,
no. Did you look it up or not?
No, I was busy.
You're busy.
But I was busy. I was busy. No, also Tim Boyle, white privilege.
Oh shit.
I said it, bitch. I said it.
I don't necessarily agree, but I understand.
But Colin Kaepernick can't get a job, but Tim Boyle could. No, I'm joking. I'm just being funny. I'm just being politics now. I'm just being funny.
Being ridiculous. By the way,
being funny.
Randall Cobb not being white, that's Rodgers' privilege. That's not white privilege. There's a difference.
That's true. Mention the Steelers. Russell Wilson started his first game of the year.
Excuse me.
Slow start.
Excuse me. What's his name?
What's his name? Carrington Jeremiah Wilson.
love the Jamiroquai. It's
No, first start of the year, slow start to the game, and then you turn it on late.
Yep.
I'm gonna tell you right now, two things. Mikey T made the right move in starting him, number one. Number two, I'm all in for the resurrection of Russell Wilson. You already know how I feel Russell Wilson. He is my favorite player in the league. So I'm gonna compare this to Kurt Warner's career. Remember Kurt Warner? So Kurt Warner, fast starts was correct. St. Louis won a Super Bowl, the whole nine, and then the 2-3 year tail off. Went to the Giants.
Yeah,
my Giants that started half the year, quarter of the year, and they played about Eli and Warner was a journeyman. Then he goes to Arizona, and that Hall of Fame career resumes, and back to the top. I'm all in. And look, I'm telling you right now, Sean Payton fucked him last year. I'm gonna say it one time. Sean Payton fucked him last year by letting him, basically, what happened last year with the Broncos.
Sure.
Russell Wilson. I'm all in for the resurrection of Russell Wilson and to resume his Hall of Fame career. Let's go.
Did Sean Payton do wrong by Russell Carrington Wilson? Clearly.
Yes.
Is it working out for both teams?
Yes.
1,000,000,000%. You all fools tried to go against Dr. Foreman's medical advice. It's an Omar Epps joke, EJ Christian. Okay. And I even said, I was asked,
from House, right?
Yeah, correct. I was even offering this explanation of why Mike Tomlin was doing it when he was questioned on the Huddle Up podcast last week. This isn't to belittle Justin Fields, but there are just certain things that the offense can do with Russell Carrington Wilson on the field that they cannot with Justin Fields. Yet, I still believe that maybe this offensive staff can develop Justin Fields better than the Bears can. I think Caleb Williams, in similar fashion as Cam Newton did for Ron Rivera, I think Caleb Williams, I called him Cam Wood, Caleb Williams is doing the same for Eberflus in Chicago. So I say all that to say, I don't think we're done seeing Justin Fields either. I think Justin Fields is the quarterback of the future, if and when, well, I shouldn't say if, but when Rusty retires.
Now, how to make it work money-wise is the question, obviously. That's the big question.
Well, at this point, Fields as a reduced and obviously reduced commodity can't command an awful lot. It would be kind of a Baker Mayfield situation, is maybe after a season or two, we could start pounding the table for a better extension. But in the meantime,
I'm curious, what would it take for Russell Wilson to remain the starter? And I know I'm looking ahead, way too ahead on just one game sample. But hear me out here.
Yeah,
one game. If Russell Wilson is the quarterback for the rest of the year, okay, what do you think it will take for him to remain the starting quarterback with this team next year if they decide to resign him?
Who's to say they will?
Let's say they go to the AFC title game this year, and he's playing. Let's say what we saw last night is a sign of things to come, or a Sunday night rather, and he plays very well, Pro Bowl level quarterback, and they're cooking all cylinders, and they play KC, and they lose to KC by 3 points because KC is the best team in the fucking league. We know that already. What now? Then what now? Does Russell Wilson now his value back up again? Does the Steelers hold on to him?
No, I don't think they do. I don't, unless Rusty is willing to compromise contract as he did here. I don't think he will. And I don't know how much Sierra's going to like it in Pittsburgh. Well, why would I even bring her up? Great question, Ernest Christian. I think with the Denver Broncos setting this precedent, I hope we don't have any Giants fans in this panel. This might be disturbing. Calm down. Who's to say that the Giants don't part with dimes and bring in Rusty in the same fashion?
Well, the dimes thing, that's almost obvious going to happen now at this point, where things are going.
Sierra been trying to get Rusty to get to New York for some time now, and happy wife, happy life, bro. Especially when she's a megastar.
Yeah. Well, she ain't as big as you think she is. She's big. She ain't big as you think she is. Come on now. He's doing it because make her happy, and she's fine as hell. Let's be clear about that. Let's just call it what it is.
I mean,
is that whole crazy?
She got her
crazy.
I don't know.
I don't know. I know that's career's almost over anyway, too. Anyway, even if he plays Pittsburgh another 2-3 years, let him play 3 years Pittsburgh, get another ring or two, then call it a day.
I think what kills that deal is eventually agents, because I don't think the Steelers are prepared to invest in an injury risk.
True. All right, you're in that cap right now. For another cap. I'm a believer in the Niners. I believe in Kyle Shanahan, but I think after this weekend, and it's not so much how they played, it's more with the fucking injuries, bro, for this team. It's keep piling up. I think they might hit the wall, man, finally. This is the week. Ayuk out for the year. Debo going to be out for a little extended period of time.
Yeah,
bad sign.
You have been the joker that's supporting the 49ers as a top 10 team for however many weeks now. By the way, that's not just you being a guy that tells jokes or whose takes are a joke because they're so bad. It's a Joker reference to hubba, 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 money, money, money. Who can you trust? It's a joke, EJ Christian. Settle down.
I understand. I'm not offended.
But the punchline is you made your settle down face. That's why I respond.
Don't be rude.
So, I mean, for those who are listening to this on the podcast, check out the Earnestly Speaking YouTube channel.
See Ernest Christian YouTube channel. Ernest EJ Christian. But yes.
Say it again.
My Ernest EJ Christian YouTube channel. That's my name on there. Yeah. Bing.
You had to put your name twice, cocky bastard. Anyways,
I got many projects, buddy.
It's here's the problem, and I know it's easy to say, but it's just a loss to the Chiefs. It's not even a conference loss. Who cares? Well, you make the point about the injuries, which I'm not wishing. I've never wished for Brandon Ayuk to be issued or injured. Let me lead with that. But his production ain't exactly been great anyway. His main role was to pull guys away from either the run attack, which is still doing great despite a lack of Christian McCaffrey because Shanahan.
And that's post-contract also, for record.
Correct. And Juwan Jennings doing his thing. And I know we're supposed to celebrate Purcell being in the lineup, but he's still, getting used to the team as a young player as well. I'm glad to see him on the field again after being shot and all that, but you're still getting up to speed. And here's the thing, though. It ain't like the Niners got a whole lot of other options, to your point. By the way, Kittle hurt. Debo's in the damn hospital with pneumonia, for Christ's sake. Like, what are we doing here? So, 3-4, I believe, is where they're at this point after losing to the Chiefs.
Yeah.
When Brock Osweiler had, obviously, if not the poorest game of 24, the poorest game in some time. And
three picks in the Chiefs side of the field. Not good. 2 in the red zone, I believe, right?
Well, and one of them wasn't his fault. I'll agree.
Right. That's true. Yes, this is true.
A rookie receiver fell down, but there were horrible decisions too. Like, this is the thing. Brock has usually been, I'm hearing about his poise and all this other stuff, but this is something. This is more like the Brock Osweiler I saw here in what used to be the Camping World Bowl, now is the Pop-Tarts Bowl, right? He was calm until he was trying to force something. And ironically, when I saw him force something was when he was without Breece Hall. Why am I mentioning Breece Hall as his former teammate who's now a Jet? Well, he was without his top running back in the second of those bowl appearances here in Orlando, much like he is right now regarding Christian McCaffrey, except he's also missing other tools. There's a lot more, air quotes, trauma in the form of missing players. So I think Brock is at the point where he's even regressed to that point to where he feels compelled to force something with these guys. He's it in his mind. Not that that's incorrect. It's just also unfortunate that this is what that has materialized, right? I mean, hey, at least for now, Trent Williams is still healthy, knock on wood. But yeah, I mean, Kittle, Debo.
Here's where I stand at the Niners. Okay, yeah, of course.
I will go through the whole list. It'll take too long. Go ahead. Uh-oh.
Here's where I stand at the Niners.
Yeah.
Are they one of the 10 best teams in the league right now? No. Fuck no. They're not. Not even close.
I haven't been for a while.
Are they a playoff team? Absolutely, because I don't trust Seattle Seahawks to win that division. Like, if they'll get in playoffs by virtue of winning the division because that division is shit.
The Seahawks doing what they did to the Falcons does give me pause.
It should give a little bit of pause, but
Right.
can you see them sustaining that? That's the question. And
I
now,
think-
and look, my mind could be changing in a few weeks, but right now, you asking me now, can I see them do that again in the next week or two? No.
With the length of injury that all these players are sustained, Brandon Ayuk's out for the year, by the way. Who knows? I think Samuel's at least 2 more weeks. It doesn't look like McCaffrey's coming back for at least 2 more weeks. Kittle, I think, is in the same boat. So we're here where we're at 3-4.
Mhm.
I see a world, without having their schedule right in front of me right now, where they're just as easily about to become 3-6.
Who's that? Niners or
The
Niners, right? Let's do it right now.
So
Bring it up right now.
quite
Keep talking.
obvious a problem, because if they're at 3-6, and I know they play the Cowboys next week, and listen, for the Cowboys, this is the opportunity to get the 49ers, because they
Correct.
ain't more gettable than right now.
Well, there's no excuse for the Cowboys here, too. No, number one, you get injured Niners. Number two, off a bye. No excuses. No excuses. Like, this is actually a kind of game that can get Mike McCarthy fired next week if he loses this game.
I mean,
Honestly.
that's a good, that you are giving the perspective of a Cowboy fan. And this isn't me calling you a Cowboy fan like I normally do, but that take is very narrow visioned. It sounds like a Cowboy fan giving it.
Right. So your next 4 games, oh, Jesus Christ. Look at this schedule. So Niners play Cowboys at home, which now also is a little bit closer to even than we realize. Bucks on the road, which the Bucks, of course, have been kind of, it's been frisky all year long.
Well, you're leaving
Seahawks.
out the occurrences of Monday night in that evaluation. More on that later.
True. The Godwin injury, Evans injury. Seahawks at home. Now, they beat them already once, but of course, you're nicked up now. And then the Packers. Packers on the road. Bills on the road. This get ugly for the Niners. They don't get healthy in time. I mean, it looks like. Go ahead.
If they get to 3-6, as I've prescribed, is on the table, and lose to the Seahawks, they're beyond done.
They're done. Yes.
If they beat the Cowboys and go 0 for the next 2, including losing to the Seahawks, I think they're done. Because I don't see 11 wins on that schedule.
No, I don't either.
I don't see them getting to 11 wins on that schedule. They have to be virtually perfect with the remaining group. I mean, that game is a real problem.
This is a tough look.
Is a real problem.
For sake of the conversation, here's the rest of the schedule. So you have Cowboys, Bucks, Seahawks, Packers, then Bills, Bears, Rams, Dolphins with Tua back. You will see he's healthy. Lions, and then the Cardinals on the road.
Other than the Miami game, is there any one of those you're truly confident that the Niners will win outright without even looking?
No.
Me neither.
Maybe the Rams game. Maybe the Rams game. They might have factored in, but at that point, they might have factored in already.
Okay, but I mean, well, guys are playing for jobs. That's different. By the way, when I mentioned the Vikings game earlier, I mean the one that's in the rear view. That's up ahead before some moron on your TikTok comes up with some stupid comment.
You're still mad about that, aren't you?
About being told I was.
I am too.
That I either corrected it within the clip or But
I told the guy too. Did you watch the fucking clip first off? I mean,
commenters
watch
are
the shit before you comment.
Okay.
They're too reactionary. But that's what you deal with in the content game. But like I said,
bro.
But here's the one thing that saves the Niners right now overall. The bar to win the NFC West is lower. Unless Seattle can prove they can pull away.
You mean? Yes.
Say it again.
Can continue to prove.
Right. If Seattle can continue, well, no, it was 1 win. They won 3, lost 3. But Atlanta. Okay, fine.
Dominant win of a team that you and I both think is an NFC South champion contender.
Right. Seattle's schedule. Bills they got a bye week now coming. No. I'm sorry. No. They're playing this week. Bills. They got the Bills at home. Then Rams. Then the Niners, we just mentioned. Then the Cardinals, the Jets, the Cardinals again. Then the Packers, Vikings, Bears. Their schedule's a lot lighter than the Niners.
Well, they do end stronger. You mentioned the NFC North coming up by the end, but with all those divisional games, if they get hot, they can put this division away quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. One last thing, we get to college football discussion. We were talking about the Lions and the bigger picture. Obviously, big win against the Minnesota Vikings this week. I'm not surprised about that. I picked them to win. But we were discussing on the chat about the ceiling, because they did lose Austin Hutchinson last week to season-ending injury last week, and we were discussing the fact, okay, Lions, really good team. We probably still agree the Super Bowl contenders, I think.
Really good team. Best
Right.
team in the NFC. Really good team.
Right. Really good team. We know the injury hurts, obviously. I mean, anyone that's even doubting that is a fool. What I've said, though, is that I think even with the injury, I think the reason why I still have a lot of faith in the Lions to get as far as they can is because that culture and that locker room is so galvanized and so united. I think that they'll use that to push them over the top where they need to be. What do you say to the injury and how much will it hurt going forward? And does it limit the Lions' ceiling moving forward?
I'm saying this. Let me preface this by saying I am saying this with precisely a single game schedule. We clear on that? Okay.
Okay.
The Lions will be fine standing pat without Aiden Hutchinson.
Mm-hmm.
The Lions will be fine standing pat without Aiden Hutchinson. Do I want them to get Max Crosby as a football fan? That would be awesome.
That's a Man Campbell guy, for the record.
I don't know. That is a Man Campbell guy. I don't know that the organization, with the careful steps they've taken to build the Lions the way that they have, is willing to part with enough assets to make that happen, especially after that they beat the Vikings the way they did. But what do you mean, Care? It was so close. Was it, though? Think of all the opportunities that Man Campbell and the Detroit Lions handed to the Minnesota Vikings. Going for it off the bat on 4th and 7 on the fake punt. Listen, I am a pro Man Campbell guy, and I love his aggressiveness, but there's a goddamn line, and boy, that crossed it. Okay?
Yeah.
Can we be clear about that? A. B. You're up. You're running the ball to run out the clock, as one should do at that point in the fourth quarter, and your guy fumbles it. That's bad enough. Maybe your defense can still make the stop. Then they take the fumble return to the house, EJ Christian, and take the goddamn lead. And you know how this team responds? With the minute something left in the game, they still secure the fucking field goal to win anyway. Now, I don't know if that says more about the Vikings, who I have told you I'm not sure about, or if this is another one of those champions win games like this moment. But because that latter point is possibly true, the Lions are good standing pat without Aiden Hutchinson. And we saw why in that Vikings game.
Yeah, I tend to believe to agree with the latter on that one, honestly. I think that's a game that in the past, before last year, if they had a lead like that, they would blow it and they would not come back and do anything with that.
And I know
back,
yeah.
The fact they came back and they didn't panic and they won the game. By the way, Jared Goff right now, best quarterback in the NFC right now. I think it's a conversation now. We can have that conversation right now if we want to. It's been phenomenal this year.
Where I will okay, so the numbers are right, but I pause with him for the same reason I pause with saying the same about Sam Darnold. That supporting cast is legit AF.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is he game managing? The answer is yes.
Yeah.
Right.
They both are, I think. Yeah.
If I say to you today, you have a single postseason game to win, who would you take? Matt Stafford or Jared Goff? You would scoff. Right?
Right.
Now, and that's what makes who's the better quarterback or the best quarterback such an what's his word? abstract concept. I gave you a very limited, impractical, never going to happen kind of scenario. Throughout the course of a season, you and I would both take Jared Goff over Matt Stafford because Matt Stafford's a billion years old. Okay. So I understand that context as well. And sometimes it's about fit and not talent. And I think that is where Man Campbell and his coaching staff have succeeded in building this team the way that they have to accommodate a Jared Goff to where he's asked to do what he's good doing, and they capitalize. Very simple.
There you are. Welcome back. Continue. You may continue, Kyle. What you were saying?
Oh no, I landed the plane. We're ready for the next question.
Oh, we're going to college football then. Fuck that. By the way, Minnesota tier 2 team. They're still a really good team. They didn't fall much of my rankings this week. You'll see this week tonight on the Whole Lot Podcast.
I would even accept you saying a low tier 1, perhaps, because it's not fair to instantly call a tier 2 a tier. It's not fair to call a team tier 2 just because they lost to a tier 1 that close, even though they were handed opportunities to win it. Now,
I think okay.
If you're penalizing them that much, I respect that as well.
No, tier 1 is only 3 teams at this point now. It's Baltimore, Detroit, and Kansas City. That's it. Boom, done.
I have my issues with calling Detroit tier 1, but the problem is that's coaching. It's their style of coaching, I should say, more accurate.
And it kind of matters.
You know, it does.
So,
it does.
All right.
And you know, we could talk about how undisciplined KC is, but their coaching, potential GOAT coaching, once his career is done, is getting them to tier 1. But nobody wants to talk about that. Anyway, sorry,
right.
AJ.
It's all right. It's our favorite segment of the show, as we call it, as you like to call it. What the hell are we doing here? College football top 25 reactions. And guess what, Kyle?
Writers refuse to do their job and watch the games, and then I'm the asshole for asking what the hell they're doing.
Kyle, they did do it though. 25 Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Okay, James Hetfield.
Yeah. Ooh. You know what?
You like it?
People yell at me about resume, literally, and they act like, and nothing else matters. But see, who you beat should matter. You like that? You like that there,
I love that. I like that. Yeah, I do love that. I do like that. Up 1 spot. Oh my God, Navy at 24.
Bro, like, reward them while you can, because when they lose to Notre Dame, it's going to be depressing. Or when they beat Notre Dame, they're going to be in the top 10 and people are going to start bitching, and I'm going to do my best Lucifer Morningstar impression. Just
hopefully the latter works out for the record. All right, Unchanged 23.
Oh, no. Let's make it clear that Eagles Jaworski Christian was the one that said that, and not. I'm just trying to keep from getting yelled at later. EJ,
I'm okay with that. Yeah, I want fucking Notre Dame to lose this weekend. Let's go. Okay, number 23. Unchanged.
I had nothing to do with that.
Okay, stand 10 toes on that one, buddy. I think Notre Dame will win the game, but I hope I'm wrong. 23, Unchanged. Army. Oh my God.
I hear they're up over I think 700 yards passing as an offense so far this year.
Interesting. Crazy. All right, down 1 spot. 22, SMU.
Still shouldn't be in the top 25. What the fuck are we doing here?
First loss of the year, I get that. 21, down 2 spots.
No, they shouldn't be in the top 25.
What are we doing here?
Thank you.
21, down 2 spots, Missouri.
Only 2?
Only 2.
Only 2?
Only 2.
I don't know. Okay, sure.
That's the AP for you, buddy.
Yeah. Anyways.
Okay. Up 2 spots at 20. Illinois with a big win.
Yeah, that Nebraska win. Not looking so hot anymore, is it there, Illini fans?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I guess so.
Bring that up.
All right, up 1 spot at 19. Still unbeaten, Pittsburgh. Just say it.
No, I can't even ask what we're doing here because I've already asked what we're doing here. And people want to keep telling me and crying about SEC bias. There's entirely too many ACC teams in this top 25.
And rightly so.
Huh?
And well, I agree with you.
Oh, okay. See, yeah, because the way you see, it's not a misappropriation, it's just poor usage. You made it sound like I say there's a lot of ACC teams here, and you go in rightly so. No,
the only reason that it is because they're unbeaten. That's the only reason why they're even in there. Trust me. If this is one loss Pittsburgh, they're not in the top 25. You know that, right? That speaks more how bad that conference is. Because if you're unbeaten, you should at least be in the top 20. 50.
I'm not convinced. They would just be lower in the top 25 behind the Illini, who
I don't know. I don't know because if Pitt was 5-1 right now, they wouldn't be ranked. Okay, the fact they're 6-0 and only 19 is a problem.
I hope you're correct. I don't.
You got two teams that are 5-2 ahead of them in the rankings. That's what I'm trying to tell you. 18 unchanged, Ole Miss.
Yeah, that's appropriate.
All right, down 2 spots at 17, Boise State.
I guess I get it. Sure. I think they should be ahead of some other teams ahead of them. More on that later.
All right. How about this one? Up 1 spot, Kansas State. 16.
Kansas State is such a weird team because they really only have one terrible outing, and that's against BYU, right? Mm-hmm. But it's a good football team.
Yeah.
I kind of like where they're at. Yeah. I'm not anti.
All right. Down 8 spots. Is this something you're used to? 15, Alabama.
I'll double down on something you aren't used to.
What?
Only 8 spots? Only 8 spots?
Yeah,
I'm
right.
pretty sure Avery Johnson and DJ Gittard, who's their running back there at K-State, would give that defense fits and make that a football game. I can make an argument that KSU should be ranked higher than Alabama.
All right, unchanged.
Did everybody hear that, by the way?
Yeah,
I did. Yeah. Good.
Unchanged at 14, Texas A&M.
I don't understand. If anybody's going to throw around SEC bias, it starts with this team. I don't understand.
Okay. All right, up 3 spots and still unbeaten, Kyle. Number 13, Indiana.
Doing what exactly?
Playing their schedule.
So beating up a bunch of 8th graders. Got it.
They do have some games coming out here that can prove them to be probably a provable team.
Yes.
Well, there's the Ohio State game, and they're coming up in there. There's also a couple we consider tough games in there. We'll see, but hey, they're doing their job, so it is what it is. All
These games might be their Super Bowl because they're about to get exposed like Janet Jackson. See what I did there?
Yeah, it did. Well, they play Washington this week. This is one of these games they can lose. Washington's just kind of tough. They can, All right, number 12. Huh?
I'll use your term. It's a bad look if they lose to Washington, right?
I agree. Unchanged, number 12. Oh, God, Notre Dame, go ahead.
I don't understand how a team who loses to a G5 school is here. You want to make them top 15? You can talk me into it. Definitely should be ranked ahead of Alabama. No, that still feels weird, but they have one fewer loss. You can sell me.
What's their good win this year though for Notre Dame to defend this? I don't see one. Louisville doesn't look like a good win anymore in hindsight. I mean, who else have they beaten
when it happened? EJ.
LSU, right?
That's got to be it. Yeah, because somehow or another LSU was still the top team in the SEC West.
Whatever. Hope they lose David this week, and then they'll be all by the wayside. All right, I said what I said. Okay, number 11, BYU, up 2 spots.
I watch you not get yelled at for it, but that's okay.
It won't be the first time. Get over it.
Here's the thing, and I complain about Notre Dame, and rightly so, but BYU is actually the topic of what I think is the biggest disservice here in the poll.
Explain.
There is no way, and I'm going to spoil, there is no way BYU is in the top 10 team right now because they have a quality win in Kansas State. Iowa State has jack shit, should have lost to UCF, and is ranked ahead of BYU. I don't fucking get it. I don't get it. What it sounds like to me is bias about a team that just was so recently independent and is a new power school. Writers aren't used to it. They, for whatever reason, like it. Meanwhile, Matt Campbell, who has done a coaching job for the fucking ages in Ames, Iowa. You haven't heard enough about it because, of course, it's also in Ames, Iowa. By the way, when I say coaching job, it's also the recruitment. May I also offer to you Breece Hall and Brock Purdy among the recent graduates for that offense, right?
Right.
Mike Campbell is a coach I like. I've interacted with him. I think he's super cool. But Iowa State is a G5 school dressed as a power conference school. And it's because Mike Campbell's there that they're able. He squeezes. I think Jeff Sharon of Black and Gold Banneret's Night Shift podcast said it best last night. He squeezes every bit of juice out of the fruit of his players to get the product that he gets there. They should not be ranked ahead of BYU. It shouldn't.
All right, speaking of top 10, let's get to it. Number 10, down one spot, actually. Ohio State, you just mentioned.
Ohio State. Where do you?
Iowa State, I said.
Yeah, again, should be beneath BYU. Still ahead of Notre Dame, mind you, but ahead of BYU.
Right. All right, up one spot, number 9.
Below BYU.
Right. Up one spot, number 9, Clemson.
I don't get it.
Yeah. They have the quality loss, buddy.
Oh, shit. You're absolutely right. They got the quality loss. Damn it. I don't know how I keep forgetting that.
Unchanged, number 8, LSU.
They have the quality loss to Notre Dame, right?
Allegedly.
And then they're about to get a potentially a quality loss against A&M, right? No, we know they're this high for one reason alone, and that's for outdueling Lane Kiffin in overtime. That's it, man.
Yeah. All right, number 7, up 4 spots, Tennessee. Big win against Alabama.
Get your flowers, Josh Heupel. I doubted you again, and you did the damn thing, and good on you, man.
He's done twice now in the last 3 years. Interesting. All right, unchanged number 6, Miami. I understand it.
It's yes. That's the best way to put it. I understand it. If you're dumb enough to still believe in Penn State, and you still think that anything about a team quarterbacked by a fraud isn't fraudulent, Miami is where they should air quotes be.
Here's what I'll say about Miami real quick.
Yeah.
Should they be number 6 in the country? Yeah, fine. I'm okay with it. Are they the 6th best team in the country? Fuck no.
Oh, I don't know about all that.
No, I think Tennessee. If they play better enough, Tennessee to lose Tennessee. I'll take them over Tennessee. I'll take LSU over them. I'll take Tennessee over them. LSU over them. Who else in the bottom? Clemson we'll probably see in a couple of weeks in the final game. Probably.
Don't say Clemson over Miami, bro. Come the fuck.
No. I say we'll see about Clemson in a few weeks, but I'll take at least two of the 7 through 10 over Miami right now.
Wait, so let's build on Tennessee. Okay, you think they're better than Miami? Well, let's get to the top, and I'll ask my question.
Okay. Down 4 spots. Texas number 5.
Too far. I think they should not be lower than 3.
Okay.
I also think they should. I don't see putting them below Ohio State. That doesn't make sense to me. But I mean, I know why it's happening. It's because of the frauds at the top of the rankings.
It's also the way they lost too. Also, they lost pretty convincingly against Georgia. That's all I'll say about that. I agree with you in theory what you're saying. For the record, I think Texas is better than Ohio State and Penn State, and I would argue better than Oregon.
Sure, I said what I said.
Okay, I think probably better than Oregon also too. But it's what it is. All right, unchanged number 4, Ohio State.
Makes sense, I guess.
Yeah. Number 3, unchanged, Penn State.
I shouldn't say makes sense because I don't understand why Penn State is okay. Penn State's still undefeated without playing anybody. But yeah, here's the thing. The way you lose needs to matter, or at least I'm told it does, right? Mm-hmm. And Ohio State lost in close fashion to a team that's allegedly number 1.
Yeah, I agree. 3 and 4 should be swapped. I agree with 100%.
Okay.
All right, number 2, up 3 spots, Georgia, they're back.
I don't know how they're not number 1, frankly.
Well, because of the 1 loss, that's why.
Yeah, sure, but you just beat the number 1 team in the nation.
Oh, brother. Oregon and Georgia play this week. We discussed on Huddle Up last week. Being that, if they play heads up, I'm taking Georgia to win and win a blowout.
Next question.
I think this weekend beating Texas should prove that point. But Oregon did beat Ohio State, who was at the time number 2 in the
They
country.
did
So
sneak past Ohio State.
right.
They didn't dominate Ohio State. They snuck past Ohio State.
Yeah. Speaking of
By the
number
way,
one, go ahead.
Georgia did it on the road. Oregon did not.
Right. Right. And number 1, Oregon, of course. I look.
Fraud.
I'm not mad about it,
Fraud.
but if you,
Just like their quarterback, absolute fraud.
put it in my hands, my top 5 goes Georgia, Oregon, Ohio State, Texas, Penn State. That's my top 5 right now. I agree, and I know you agree with that for the record.
No way. Because
You
I
don't?
know
Wow.
you wouldn't put Penn State in the top 5. You're better than that.
Well, they're
Hey,
unbeaten.
whoa. Let me really bring the hammer down.
Okay.
Heads up. Oregon heads to Knoxville to do battle with Rocky Top in Tennessee. What's the spread?
Oregon to Rockets, Tennessee. I would say it's probably Tennessee -1.
So what you're saying is at home, Tennessee is essentially an even draw.
So, but
Dude, hold on.
not necessarily. Here's the thing, though. Home teams typically
I
get the
literally
3
said at home. I know they typically give
3
up
points.
points, or
3
excuse me.
points.
Yeah, they give up 3 points, and you lessened that. Okay, you're saying this for the non-degenerate initiated.
Right.
That -1 is you saying that Oregon is that good, and they are good enough to potentially, possibly, maybe overcome.
I'm saying that the bettors will probably give Tennessee a very slight edge because they're home.
But here's
that's
my
it.
punchline that I just poked in your bullshit top 5. You didn't include Tennessee, and that statement does.
Well,
Got him.
okay. I mean, I like your point, but my top 5. I mean, look, Oregon's
Penn State versus Tennessee. Who you got?
I don't know, to be honest with you. I really don't know.
Okay.
I really don't know.
Ohio State, Tennessee. Who you got?
Ohio State.
Me too.
Is it in Tennessee? In Tennessee?
What's that?
In Tennessee, right?
Yeah. All these are assumed Knoxville. Correct.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take Ohio State still.
Okay.
Unless I can't stand them. Who else?
Georgia.
Georgia against everybody.
Okay.
Georgia's number 1 team in the country. Okay.
So
Period. In discussion.
You just said to me is that Oregon is 4th, Tennessee is, check that. Oregon is 5th, Tennessee is 4th, and the other 3 teams in Ohio State.
I didn't say they were Tennessee, Oregon. I didn't say anything. I said I don't know.
Or actually, excuse me. I would also say, but the fact that it's a matchup that you don't understand puts Penn State, Tennessee, and Oregon in the bottom 3 of the top 5 at the very least. Which you didn't even include Tennessee.
So I said, well, okay, I'm going based on the top 5 I have here.
No,
I think. Remember, I just said Tennessee is better than Miami. Also, too, the 6.
You said my top 5 is. Say the teams again, so everybody's clear.
Okay, so I base it on the top 5 that they have. I'll give my top 5 who I think is the 5 teams in college football all together. Okay, here we go. So I'll go Georgia 1. I'll go.
You would go
Georgia
Ohio
1.
State 2, but you can't because they lost to Oregon, and I think that's
you
fair.
have to play the result too, buddy.
Yeah, that has to matter.
That being said, if Oregon Ohio State plays again, I'm picking Ohio State to win.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying.
Which is why you're making Ohio State 3. Cool.
Right.
Who's 4?
I'll definitely go Tennessee. Yeah. Overall, Tennessee.
Who's 5?
Did I say Oregon yet?
You said Oregon at 2.
5 would be LSU. Wait. Who am I missing in this spot? Am I missing anybody from top 5 that I didn't mention yet? Oh, Texas. Sorry, Texas.
Okay.
Which Texas? So Texas.
Penn State isn't in your top.
Oh, no. Put this out.
And rightly so.
Right. So, no. So, Texas, actually, to be honest, Texas would be number 4, probably, over Tennessee. Maybe even 3.
Okay.
I think Texas beats Ohio State head-to-head.
So, wait a minute. Oregon is 2 over a number 5 Tennessee, but
only because of the results.
But you think Tennessee can beat them?
I think honestly Texas is number 2 in the country. But the thing is, Oregon did beat Ohio State, so
They
you have to bake in the
swept
result.
Ohio State, and that's the reason why you can be a little bit more squeamish about the result.
I don't feel great about Oregon being a top 5
on Notre Dame the way I have is because they lost to a G5 team.
Right. I get what you're saying. I totally get what you're saying. But if we're playing the results, I still think Ohio State's better than Oregon. But the result was they lost to Oregon. Granted, it was a tight game, but again, they play again. I'll pick Ohio State again.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. It's confusing because you're balancing the actual result versus what I think is what is.
Oh, and that's the thing. Ohio State has to be penalized, like you said. Texas has to be penalized.
Yeah.
They can't be higher than 3 because of the games they lost. I get it. But Tennessee, you have no excuse.
Right. No, Tennessee is probably a top 5 team.
But don't you have to consider their results, right? Now, granted, the real response, the real reason to be critical of Tennessee is, what the hell was that shit that you played against the Gators? That's the correct answer.
Right. Real quick, get you out of here. I got to bring David in about 2 minutes. Quick answer here. Colorado 1 win away from bowl eligibility. They're going to make it, right? They're going to make it.
They're going to get it.
And we're going to sit there and we're going to laugh at Big Jim and Mike and all those clowns on the hull up for trying to be haters all day long. Good.
Hey, the biggest Colorado hater of all time, founder of the Black and Gold Banneret, Jeff Sharon, who has pooped all over Deion Sanders, the coach of Colorado, since he arrived, capitulated that he is doing a good job this season getting that team right. And
even
throughout the year.
That's awesome. Even Paul fucking Feinbaum came around on this one.
Whoa!
Of all people. Paul Feinbaum was one of the biggest Colorado haters entering the year. He came around. So, yeah. Anyway, plug away, buddy.
Of course, I'm Kyle Nash, Student of the Game. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads at the SOTG. Find me on Facebook as the Student of the Game. Check out my writings with Fans vs. Sports Network, covering both the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Orlando Magic. Yeah, I have to say, blah, blah, NBA season's here soon, buddy. I have my article written to lean into the season. And then Friday night, I'm going to be writing something up after they do battle here at Kia Center with the Philadelphia 76ers. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why do I do this to myself?
Because you're crazy. Because you're nuts.
Of course, on Tuesday night here, we'll have the Huddle Up podcast, as well as on Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, the Duval Dive does its thing, as well as my work as the Student of the Game. Check that out, 9 p.m. Eastern. And then, by the way, you can find both of those offerings, one on the Duval Dive YouTube channel. Like and subscribe there. We're growing rapidly. And, of course, Huddle Up YouTube channel for the Student of the Game. And then, what am I forgetting? Night Shift. That's up and running. And make sure you check out my work with the Black and Gold Banneret, not only covering basketball, men's and women's, but this weekend UCF does battle with the aforementioned BYU, which could make this complete conversation bunk. And if it does, you can check it out on the Night Shift Live Black and Gold Banneret YouTube channel. An honor, joy, and privilege, EJ Christian. Until then, class dismissed.
All right, we're now joined here by the host of the Locked On Heat podcast, my old friend, David Mill. Brother, what's up, man? Looking good.
Thank you so much, man. Happy to be here. I know Christmas. We don't do it enough, but yeah.
It's Christmas. NBA's back tonight, man. Can't wait.
It is. It's a good time. We made it through the off season.
Yeah, absolutely. I did see, though, that you did interview I think yesterday, whatever, Alonzo Mourning on the podcast.
Yeah.
How was that?
Yeah, that was great. Fantastic. We reached out because, the Kaseya Center and the Miami Heat are honoring the hardwood floor and naming it in Pat Riley's name. And so we asked if they could have anybody speak to us about Pat Riley and share some stories. And they said, you know what, we can make Alonzo Mourning available. We're like, sure, let's do that. And so I got a chance to speak to Zoe, and he was fantastic. Shared a lot of great open conversations he had with Riley, great memories that he had, talked about when he first joined the team, that Riley really didn't know him very well. So Riley sat down with him on the old practice floor that they used to have back before the Kaseya Center was even built, before the American Airlines Arena was even built. Exactly. They were playing at the old Miami Arena. And it was really great, just great conversation. So Alonzo, obviously, as big a part of Heat culture as anybody, but nobody helped define it as much as Pat Riley has.
Of course, check out that interview, of course, on the Locked On Heat podcast feed on any podcast catcher or on YouTube as well. I know you guys are on YouTube now, especially. So check it out.
That's right.
Great. If you, especially if you're a Heat fan, but even if you're an NBA fan in general, check out the interview. Yeah. I'll be checking it out soon as I get off this conversation with you here. But let's get to the Heat right now. As their season starts tomorrow, actually, against Orlando. Let's talk vibes first. So when it comes to the Heat and just everything at large with the team and in the league, it's where it's going. Does it feel like to you that the Heat's window for a title is now shut, or just still sliver of hope? You think?
I think there is a sliver. I think they never really had a proper window because they've never been built as a team that was seen as a legitimate contender. Every time that they've had a deep playoff run, and consider what they've done over the last 5 years, 3 trips to the Eastern Conference Finals, 2 trips to the NBA Finals, and at no point in time did anybody expect them to. Of course, there was the Orlando bubble, and that was a strange season, to put it mildly, but they've never really had that kind of roster on paper that you look at and you go, this is a team that can beat the strongest teams in the East. This could beat anybody out in the West. It's never been the case. But when you look at what the team does, how they approach the postseason, that's where they push all the chips in. I won't go so far as to say that they flip the switch, because I don't think they have that kind of huge talent like the Big Three era once did, where they could say, you know what, we can afford to be the second or third in the East. It doesn't really matter, because we know when we want to put our pedal to the metal that we can beat anybody. That's not this group, but they just outcoach everybody with Eric Spoelstra. Jimmy Butler carries the team through the postseason in a way he does not during the regular season, and then everybody else knows what their purpose is. And I think one of the things that's helped them in the past is that they've always had these injuries where they've had guys step up throughout the point of the regular season. And then when the postseason rolls around, it's not like you're throwing somebody into the fire unexpectedly. They have some experience. They know what to do. They're comfortable in their roles. And everybody's goal is the same, to win basketball. And so all these things kind of fit together at just the right time. And they always manifest, or typically have manifested, in a way that leads to winning when it matters most. I still think that they can win at a high level this year. I know that other teams made improvements throughout the Eastern Conference, but when you look at what Miami's done, the continuity, the fact that everybody's so well coached, and that they have all these complementary pieces, and I think they're probably the deepest roster in the NBA, maybe alongside an Oklahoma City or something like that. But if everybody's healthy, and I think the team believes this as well, they can be a title contender.
See, I agree with that last point you made about the roster being, deep. I think with all the Jovic's of the world and Jaime Jaquez and what he did last year before, slowing down the end of the year, they have the requisite talent to compete in terms of a deep roster. But to me, that's all dependent on what Jimmy, his health. Obviously, I think Bam is for the most part always be healthy. But Jimmy is the one really I'm concerned about. And look, the playoff Jimmy's a thing. We agree with that. It's a thing. But we kind of need to see a little more regular season Jimmy. We need to see Jimmy to play at least 65 games this year to at least get out of the play-in situation. We got lucky twice now. We've gotten to play in a couple of times and made through there, and somehow made runs. But last year, not having Jimmy available to play in the Boston series, I still think say Boston wins that series, but that's a 7-game series probably with Jimmy on the court, because just of the culture and what they do. But also on top of that, with Jimmy, he has a contract situation coming up very soon. They have not resolved that situation yet. He could be a free agent at the end of this year. How do you think they approach this situation going forward with him? Do you think I guess make a prediction if you want to. Is this his final year in Miami, you think? Because there's a lot of buzz about him maybe getting traded.
Earlier this offseason, I would have said yes. I don't even know that he would have made it into the start of camp. But now, with the whole offseason and the second tax apron and the new CBA impacting the way other teams make business, I just don't know that there is as much of a market to sign a 35, almost 36-year-old Jimmy Butler to the kind of money that his agent said he wanted. And to Jimmy's credit, everything he's done throughout the offseason and leading into media day and a training camp has been just the right thing. Like, he's worked hard, he's done all that, and we always knew that was never in question. But he's never talked about money. He's never talked about the organization. This is a very different Butler than the one we saw in Philadelphia, who wasn't comfortable there. The one who we saw in Minnesota, who forced his way out of Chicago. This is a guy who's older. He knows that he's got the keys to the organization. He wants to continue winning here. I think he's happy here. He's fulfilled in a way where he hasn't been elsewhere. My feeling is that they'll come to some kind of an agreement, but a lot of that depends on this season. I think that's the approach that he's taking, the team is taking. It's like, we want to see what you could do with one more year on this roster and see how far you can take us. And with Bam and Tyler taking leaps and everybody else continuing to improve around Jimmy, if they can go on another deep playoff run, I think both sides will find a way to make it work. So my prediction is that Jimmy will play out the rest of the season here. And I've talked to a lot of fans, ask me, oh, hey, what's going on with Jimmy? He's going to get traded, etc. And I don't think it's the case. Like, again, 3 months ago, I would have answered very differently. Now, I think they're going to keep him on the roster unless there's some kind of unforeseeable disaster within the next couple of months leading up to the trade deadline. And at that point, he says, you know what, I can't win on this team. Then make it happen. But otherwise,
it kind of has like a lot of like 2008 Shaq vibes.
Yeah,
when Shaq, had a little 3-year run here, and then things fell apart pretty quickly. He's like, I gotta get out of here.
That was different because even him, he had one, and he was older, and he was tired of Riley pushing him, and Riley was he's always been a guy who pushes you so much that eventually those you kind of feel burnt out by you tune him out because you can't take that, especially a player like Shaq at that point in time who was a superstar. But he was on the tail end of his career. He doesn't want to hear from Riley.
And very ornery, too. Shaq was very ornery at that point in his life.
Very much so. Very much so. So, yeah, I mean, it was a different situation, I think. I think now with Spo in charge, I think it's very different. I think he can get along with Jimmy in a way that maybe Riley could not with Shaq. And now I think they're on the same page. Like, the vibes around the team have been nothing but great. Like, everybody's accepting their role. Everybody understands that they want to win. I haven't seen this kind of positivity in a training camp. Certainly not last year. Like, last year was going into media day and summer and training camp. That was a disaster because there was a whole offseason of pursuing Dame, and then you fall short at the very last second. He gets traded to Milwaukee, and you go into training camp going, man, we never retooled this roster. Even after an NBA Finals run, we just never retooled this roster. We lost Max Strus, we lost Gabe Vincent, we went after Dame. None of that manifested. You've got Tyler, who we didn't want. You've got Kyle Lowry, who we didn't want. All these different players there, and the vibes were just off from day one, and it kind of just piled on with all the injuries, and it was just going through all this work and a tiresome season that just wound up being flat before it ever started. This one is different. I think you go in there healthy, renewed energy because you were bounced out of the playoffs early last year, and I think it's working out. I really do. I think this team is going to exceed expectations. The
common thing with Jimmy too, also, which is so complicated, is that he's 35 years old. His playing style is not conducive to wanting to, like, this is Kevin Durant's different story. I have no qualms giving Kevin Durant another 3-4 year max deal because of his playing style. He's a perimeter player also too, so his game is going to age well no matter what. Jimmy's not so much, and you don't see anything. He hasn't really added to his game in a sense where you pay a guy at that, but then once you lose your power game, now what do you have? So that's the risk there. That's what the risk here of getting Jimmy to a big deal beyond this year.
Yeah, I don't think the team will pay him the kind of money that we were talking about earlier. Right. Like when we heard from his agent, that was just, we've never seen that. I've made the point before on the podcast, but only 2 teams that I know of in NBA history have paid a player for what they accomplished earlier in their careers, and that's the Dallas Mavericks with Dirk Nowitzki and Los Angeles Lakers with Kobe Bryant. Other than that, you pay a player for what they're doing moving forward, regardless of what they mean for the team, regardless of their roles or anything like that. You don't pay a guy $60 million saying, well, thanks for taking us to the finals twice in the last 5 years. That just doesn't happen. And so I don't think they're going to be paying him that kind of money.
No.
But I will say that I think Jimmy's also opening to tweaking his game a little bit. He's stretching the floor a little bit more. I think we'll see more jumpers, certainly from 3-point range. But at some point, he's just going to want to put his head down and try to get to the rim. And you hope that as a Heat fan, that you don't see him suffer any kind of injury or anything like that. And I think the officiating rules, we'll see how it plays out too, because last year we saw a dramatic dip in his free throw attempts because the officiating rules kind of allowed some of that contact. It works out for Miami in some ways because they can defend a little bit more physically, but Jimmy's not going to be getting to the line nearly as much as he once did too. So we have to see him find a proper balance.
Right. Is there a move they can make, a whale that maybe we don't know that's out there that could be disgruntled in the next 3-4 months?
No, I never say. I I hesitate to always say no because you rarely see a front office as creative as Miami's, and they've always found a way to make it happen even when you think they can't. But you look at the cap structure, you look at what the CBA is doing to teams, and you would just be paying so much more money to acquire any kind of superstar. And you have to look at what Miami has of the roster in terms of tradable assets, and it's just not that attractive. Like Tyler's a very good player. I like him just fine, even though I think the fan base has turned on him. But you look at his value around the league, it's not nearly as high as you'd like it to be.
Right.
Other than that, you've got some nice young players, but everybody kind of has read the book on what Miami's assets are, is that, you know what, they play well in Miami, and then you get them and they kind of lose a lot of the bloom falls off the rose very quickly. You look at Gabe Vincent. Max was fine in Cleveland, but I think he was probably overvalued anyway. You see what Miami players can do with the Heat, and then you see what they do elsewhere, and it never really works out that way. So I don't think you have a lot of teams looking to acquire players that thrive in Miami, knowing that they're probably not going to thrive elsewhere.
Yeah. I think the structure part is actually a very good, point. Obviously, I'm looking at like what if Giannis decides, maybe I'm just done in Milwaukee. Yeah, we've heard little rumblings about like maybe he can get a little antsy there. I mean, obviously, it's always the Kevin Durant thing if he gets like antsy in Phoenix. But yeah, to your point though, I think this is who we have. I think went to the finals. I think we have to realize that this is what we have, and I think what we have is good enough to compete as a playoff team. And maybe you get lucky. Maybe it's an injury here, some other team. And look, I look at Eastern Conference. We'll get to predictions in a second. Obviously, I don't know where you stand on this with the Eastern Conference, but obviously Boston. Top four team, champs. I mean, I'm big on the Knicks this year. I think the Knicks roster is almost right there with Boston's. To be honest with you, so I think Knicks, those are, in my opinion, on paper, declare two best teams in the conference. Then you go Milwaukee when healthy, Philadelphia definitely when healthy because that's a massive situation with their health. So after you get there, then you have the Indianas and the Clevelands, all that, and then that's where Miami fits in, I think, also. But again, I still think there's still a lot of space there that. Injuries aside, and a lot of those teams you mentioned always have someone that gets hurt at the wrong time of the year. So there's always a chance to wedge yourself in the conversation that if you take advantage of that, the Heat can still find themselves in the second round, even the conference finals. And you see it in the past. If they get hot, things happen.
Yeah, I think you can only control what you can control. And as cliche as that sounds, you try to put yourself in the right position to win. There's no such thing as luck. It's just putting yourself in the right position and maximizing those opportunities when they do manifest. And you're absolutely right. I mean, I have no confidence in Philadelphia being able to stay healthy all year.
I agree with 100%. I did my season preview last week, and we do every year we do the over-unders, like win totals. I went under because I'm gonna bake number one, Joel Embiid saying, "Oh, I'm gonna miss back-to-backs. Oh, I don't plan back-to-backs." Well, that's a red flag right there. Number one. Number two, that's not even equating for what injury you will get at some point anyway. Plus Paul George will probably get hurt at some point this year. So 51.5 wins. I took an easy under in that one. Their goal is to be healthy by April.
Right, and it could work out that way. It could, but I also look at the Knicks, and you know what? As much as I like the vibes from last year and the magic they were able to create, and I like Karl Anthony Towns and his acquisition there, I think it's going to help a lot. They're going to go through a lot of injuries too, and that Tom Thibodeau is going to put them through the grind. He's going to play them a lot of minutes, and that's going to hurt them at some point. We saw it last year when I think they would have beat Indiana pretty handily had they been healthy, but it's when they're healthy that's the huge question mark. So you look at that. Milwaukee, I think they'll win a lot during the regular season, but always consider Doc Rivers' Achilles heel of playoff adjustments and whether or not he can make those kinds of changes in the postseason. That Spo has beaten them a couple times before. And then you look at Boston. Well, again, I mean, are they as motivated? A lot of people are making the easy prediction of saying
should be. They should.
Yeah, you would think so, but it's not so easy to do. And you kind of have to, again, I've always thought about it this way. Like you've seen this throughout NBA history, like teams that get back to the finals. I think it's different now. I think you're almost complacent with at least I got one. And you saw it with Denver. And I mean, the vibes when Denver were off after they had won the title a couple of seasons ago last year. Obviously, they weren't able to duplicate it, but they still had the best player on the planet, Nikola Jokic. And so they were able to go on a deep playoff run, just not as deep as they'd like. I don't know that they're going to be as motivated after they've already won one. And I'm saying this about the Celtics, like all the proving all the doubters, all the naysayers and everything else like that. And quite frankly, taking advantage of an Eastern Conference that was beat up as hell by the
True.
time they played them. Like every opponent they faced, from Miami to Indiana, et cetera, was facing a number of injuries. That made it certainly much easier. They faced a
course.
fairly healthy Dallas team and beat them pretty easily, but I don't know if they would have gotten to that point had they faced a healthy Miami, a healthy Indiana, et cetera. So, you know, you have to take those things into consideration. I still believe that Boston can win, but I wouldn't put them in Sharpie, that's for sure, as a Eastern Conference finalist.
Well, you said Boston. To me, it's more so Jason Tatum. I did a segment on this like a couple times this summer. Like, if you're Jason Tatum, you have to be motivated. Not only is your team being disrespected as a defending champion, but then you yourself don't win Finals MVP. You go to the Olympics. You have multiple DMPs in the Olympics on the international stage. If I'm Jason Tatum, I'm feeling disrespected. Like, you should be nothing but motivated. But maybe that's just who he is. He's a calm, Tim Duncan-like guy, this team guy, whatever, and that's what it is. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a good point. I there's a lot of that. I think that it might be overblown. Like I think he feels pretty comfortable in where he is, and I mean, you look around. Everybody's predicting Boston is going to be the best team in the East. So I don't think that they're facing nearly as much disrespect as we make it seem to be. But just on a personal standpoint, I don't know that the Olympics are motivating him. You know, that's a different scenario. It's FIBA basketball, and quite frankly, he wasn't even that good. So I mean, like in the games that he played,
this is generational, I guess. Then it's a generational thing, I guess. I don't know. Maybe maybe I'm an old man. Maybe it was you guys gotten old, and this whole thing has gotten a little different for us. How we view these things. So anyway, that's Heat real quick though. Biggest storyline for me coming to the year is seeing is it Khalil Ware? Khalil, right? Khalil Ware. Yeah. I am very excited about this kid this year. I don't know how Spo will use him. You know how Spo gets a little, you know, not arrogant is the word. I don't know the word I'm looking for, but he gets a little. He's very particular how he does things. The process. He believes in the process. You know. So yeah, what do you think?
I don't think he's going to play much. I think they view him as a long. Yeah, I don't think he's going to play much. I think he's a long-term prospect. Okay. Yeah, and it's about getting him to be as well developed as possible, because I think we've seen too often throughout history that you put players out there and you kind of rush them in there and expect them to be impactful, and they don't rise to the challenge because of lack of talent or because they're just not aware. And I think there are different factors with Khalil. Like he's underweight, undersized. He's not strong enough to kind of handle that kind of grind of the center position. And although he might be a little bit more perimeter based or more relying on touch and things of that sort, like you still need his size out there. You still want him to be able to bang and be able to do the kinds of things that a 7-footer has traditionally done. And he gets a little lost out in space. Like you see him out on the floor and he's not quite sure, unless he has the ball in his hands, he's not quite sure what to do defensively. He doesn't rotate, etc. So there are things he can adjust and work on. And that's fine. Like you've got 3 centers above him that will probably play more, and Thomas Bryant and Kevin Love. And while neither of those names kind of make you go, ooh, at the same time, like Ware's just not, he's not spectacular right now. He's not able to put up the kind of numbers that need him to. And there's too much at stake this season to kind of hinge it all on a 20-year-old rookie. And so maybe he'll earn more playing time throughout the regular season. Yeah. But we know this with Spo. He has to put in the work behind the scenes. Like he has to be first one on, last one off. He has to, spend time with Malik Allen, the assistant coach there, and kind of have him, again, teach him the big man game, how to respond, how to focus. And he needs to show Spo that he's ready for that challenge. And if he does that, then he'll earn that playing time. But for now, I wouldn't expect him to play much. But I do like his potential down the road.
By the word I was looking for was stubborn. Spo does get stubborn at times. Still is very stubborn at times. But it's rotations. So that was the word I'm looking for. Yeah, I had a brain fart there for a second. All right, one last thing to get you out of here. I had to get your kid from school. Predictions for season predictions for the Heat first. Give me a seeding record and how far it goes.
I think they avoid the play-in tournament this season. I just think that there's also so many teams that have made changes and improvements in the East. It's going to be difficult for them. So I'm going to say they're going to finish with 49 wins.
Whoa, that's pretty good.
49 wins and finish with the 6th seed. Why is that? No, that's too low. 47 wins in the 6th seed. Like it's got to be there. I don't think they're going to be a top 4 team. I know somebody in the top 4 is going to drop out. Somebody in the bottom 4 is going to climb. But I just don't know that Miami is going to be able to continue to push that much. So I'd say 47 wins in the 6th seed. That's fair.
I like that. As in playoffs, they get to the second round, you said? Second round playoffs.
All depends on matchups and health, and maybe I'll have my words to take back on later on. But I think they make it to the Eastern Conference Finals.
I love it. I love it. So East Finals is Celtics Heat.
I don't know that the Celtics are going to make it, but I know the Miami.
Oh my God! Look at this guy. Is it Heat Knicks again?
That would be nice. That would be a nice matchup, right?
Yes.
I mean, that would be two teams that would be brutal. There'd be blood on the floor. That would be incredible seeing the way these two teams. Oh, Karl Anthony Towns versus his old teammate Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo versus the Kentucky rival. So many different stories there. That would be phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
I would love. And that would be nearly as much drama and storylines baked into it as Heat Boston. But we'll see how it plays out. A long season, a lot can happen. So predictions. As much as we love making them, it's hard to kind of.
So if I ask right now, I'm not going to hold you this. So give me East and West Finals predictions right now. The David Mill,
Oklahoma City Thunder versus Miami.
2012
all over again.
Wow, NBA Finals prediction. Yeah. I like that. And who's MVP this year? MVP is going to be who?
MVP of the league?
Yeah.
I think it's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Okay, and who's the title this year? OKC was the title or Miami?
I think OKC would win it just based on their depth and overall speed.
Yeah, I'll take the Heat going to the finals here. And if they lose,
they won't.
I'll be okay.
They won't, but yeah, I think a lot of fans would be happy with a run like that.
You're being politically correct right now, buddy. I like that. Anyway, follow Dave Ramil on Twitter at DRamil, X at DRamil13, the cesspool that is X/Twitter.
Yes.
Dave, we'll talk soon. You'll be on the show a lot this year because I revised the podcast format now, so you'll be on a lot more this year. So trust me.
Excellent. Looking forward to always talking basketball.
Yes, you got it, man.
Thank you.